Most people know how to lose fat. The reason why they don't is because most of the time they burn out and can't last the test of time. Here is the exact system I would follow if I was starting from scratch. It's flexible, simple, and will actually fit into your life. So if you're new here, I'm Sylvester. I've been coaching around 10 years. I've coached over 10,000 people. In this particular system, I'm going to show you the fastest way that I would do this if I wanted to get as lean as possible in a relatively short time frame. And if you're not new here, you'll know the majority of this page, I talk about sustainability, which is absolutely still at the forefront of what it is that I do. But I think it's important that there's going to be times and place where people really just want to push to something that's relatively unsustainable, because if you did diet for too long, you would die. So we don't want to be in a calorie deficit. We don't want to, our bodies are not made to necessarily do this. So there is certain protocols and things you can put in place to speed it up so that you can get it out of the way. So first things first, when it comes down to this, committing to a start and an end date. So really, you're looking at 8 to 12, maximum 16 weeks, but I would argue that that's maybe slightly too long. You'd want a break in between. But 8 to 12 weeks is a good sweet spot for taking that time for a full focus for a few months. And what I would say with this is that whatever time frame you commit to, hold yourself accountable, friend, family member, whatever, and commit to it regardless of what happens, regardless of if you feel as if you can't do it. Commit to the time period. It's not about committing to get the result necessarily. If you commit to the time, the result will happen as a byproduct. So next up, calories. So calories are important. Whether you track them or not, they're super important. They're the most important thing, calories in, calories out. And I know people hate the calorie talk, especially because I don't track my calories anymore, and that should be the long-term goal for anyone who does this. But I think when you go through a phase like this, it's important to be as accurate as you can so that it's as speedy as you like, and you're taking away the guesswork. So I would recommend tracking calories during this 8 to 12 week process. How do you do the calorie tracking? MyFitnessPal, NutriCheck seems to be the best in terms of like size of database. NutriCheck actually seems to be easier to use. Like, with no codes or anything like that. But if you are only going to do this for a few months, it's probably worth the 15 quid or whatever per month. So what calories should you be on? There's no magical calorie amount necessarily that I think people need to stick to. The one thing that I would say for speed, if you're someone who wants to lose a bit of weight, you maybe don't fall into the obese category, because this advice wouldn't necessarily correlate to that. But regardless, I do have a calorie calculator, meal plan builder, etc. down below, completely for free. You can go and grab that after you watch this video. It should help you with some of the meals. You get a recipe book and stuff as well. So how do you calculate your calories quickly? The easiest way really to do it is to look at your current body weight in pounds, times it by 10. This doesn't work for absolutely everyone, but if you're someone who wants to lose, say, 20 pounds or so in the next 8 to 12 weeks, then this will work. In terms of protein, you don't need as much as this, but I would actually recommend this. So let's just say I'm 180 pounds, which I'm about 180 pounds. I would times that number by 10, would give me 1,800 calories. And then I'd just knock a zero off that. And then my target goal for protein on a daily basis is 180 grams. It's quite a lot, but anywhere between 160 and 180 for that given person. You can have kind of 20 grams either side. And the main reason for this is satiety. So when it comes to satiety and feeling full on this diet, because you are in a deficit, and a relatively extreme one at that, I would imagine, you need to keep yourself full so that you can sustain it. So next up, the actual food that you're eating. So a bit of meal structure. So let's start with breakfast. It's the easiest way to look at this. So breakfast, as you may know, you may not know, breakfast stands for break fast. It's literally broken down into that, break fast. So whatever time breakfast starts is when you break fast. Now, a lot of people, because they're in the habit of it, have a breakfast, even a lot of time when they're not hungry, because they're told it's the most important meal of the day. But it's when that meal happens that is actually most important. You want to kind of train your body to adjust to this. The first week or two might be a little bit challenging, but what I would say is push that first meal back until 10 or 12 o'clock. And the goal here is to allow you more bigger meals, so 2 larger meals and then 1 or 2 snacks in between that, because if you can push that first meal back, it just makes the whole process a lot easier. Because if you have, say, a 600 or 700 calorie breakfast, then your next 2 meals would be relatively tough. So some caffeine, water in the morning will help you push that back until later on, and just makes it a lot more simple. Now, in terms of this first meal, I would pick 2 meals, and you'll see that from the meal plan builder down below. I'd pick 2 meals for your breakfast. one that's like super easy, maybe a yogurt bowl with berries, etc., and then maybe like an egg or a quesadilla, something like that. But I would always have some form of fiber source with it. So that could be fruit, veg, etc. And again, that just comes down to satiety. So really, realistically, as much as you're in a relatively aggressive deficit here, the goal here is to actually keep you full, and you're going to do that through protein and fiber. Now, next up, training. So training, when it comes to training and movement, I separate them two. So training is different because the goal here is to get as lean as possible, maintain or even build muscle during this time. And the only way that you're going to do that is by actually stressing the muscles. The classes that you do in the gym, although they might feel like they're burning loads of calories, they may burn a bit more calories, but that's taken care of through the diet and the steps, which you'll get to. You want to save the energy to get as strong, as progressively strong as you can. At the very least, maintain your strength during this time. Because if you're getting stronger and leaner, it actually means you're building muscle and losing fat simultaneously. If you're at least maintaining the weight in the gym and you're losing fat, technically you are gaining strength to weight ratio because you're getting leaner and your numbers are still staying the same in the gym. So even if you're not astronomically going up in terms of weight in the gym, if it's thereabouts, by the end of this, you won't have lost muscle. You might even build a little bit. And the thing is, people think that they need to gain all this muscle, but if you've been going to the gym for a year or two and you've been relatively consistent with it, you'll have built up some form of foundation of muscle. And the goal here is to get lean so you can reveal what you've got, and then you can build on it after that in the next phase. So how many times do I train a week? Really, it's going to be anywhere between 3 and 4. So it would be, if it was 4 days, maybe an upper, lower, or if it's 3 days, it might be upper, lower, full body, along those lines. The goal is you want to hit between 2 and 3 times a week a specific muscle group. You definitely don't need to train any more than 4 days a week. If anything, on a deficit, lower calories, the actual workouts themselves won't be very good because you need the energy to recover. And the goal here for these workouts is just to progressively overload. So pick your compounds between push, pull, lower. I have some free tips in the email stuff down below that you'll get throughout that, as well as the meal plan builder and things. But in all honesty, you could get a good upper, lower, just typing into Google or even ChatGPT, upper, lower, full body split or upper, lower split. These things are pretty easy to come by. The main thing is you're getting stronger. There's no magic type of workout. It's just about following this structure. So when it comes to steps is one thing that I would always say, increase by 20%, etc., which I still believe in. But today we're looking at speed. So set your step target between 10 and 14,000, and that will progress over the course of time. So whenever it comes to starting anything, if you start with your minimum step target being 10 and over time that gradually increases, that keeps you in that good consistent deficit and avoids you having to necessarily drop the calories if weight loss or fat loss starts to plateau. And if you live in the UK or somewhere rainy, even when it's summertime, like I did for 30 years of my life, I completely get you don't want to get out, but your goals are more important than that. So you get two options. You get a jacket, you get out, put AirPods on, you'll be absolutely fine. Or you get a walking pad, and they're pretty cheap on Amazon, and you just do that while you're watching Netflix in the evening, something like that. Now, I'm very much aware that I'm saying all these things, and I'm a parent myself, and I know to an extent this might be very difficult for parents to come by, but you will find ways and things that you can do when you're trying to hit these numbers once it's important enough to you and you start to see the result. That said, it's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent with it. So in an ideal world, this would be easy. I know it's not, but it will get you the result. Now, I'm not going to cover this for that long because I really don't think it's that important at all, but I get it all the time. What supplements should I take, etc. If I was to have the hierarchy pyramid of what's important, supplementation and meal timing are at the end of that. That said, I do think for this particular topic, meal timing is more important because of satiety. Supplementation, the only really supplement other than if you live in the UK for health would be vitamin D, because we don't get enough of that. But creatine is going to help you maintain strength, etc. 5 grams a day, something like that will be absolutely fine, and just make sure you're drinking enough water. You do not need protein shakes, bars, etc., but they're fine for on the go, just to hit your protein. Even like protein yogurts, etc., absolutely fine, but the majority of your protein should come really just in the form of actual real food. You'll feel better, and the supplementation industry is just there to sell you I'm here to help you. And if you buy from me, perfect. If not, there's some free stuff. So in terms of an actual weight, there is no way of knowing exactly what weight is going to be you at your leanest. That said, doing this process, you're either going to get as lean as you would like or you won't. People massively underestimate the amount of weight that they have to lose. I understand when people say, I want to be lean at this weight, but that comes in several phases. This is the first phase, fat loss. Whatever it takes you to get lean, if it's 10 pounds more than you think, that's just what naturally has to happen. And then you can build from there, start to gain a bit more muscle from there. And that's how that will gradually go up. And in terms of weight, weigh yourself daily, if not 5 to 7 times a week. The reason why I do this, and I get my clients to do this, they log it on the app so they can see the trend. They'll get a low weigh in and it will start to go up and down, but really you're just looking for that trend to be trending down. So you should have a new low weigh in every 7 to 10 days if you're doing this, and it will go up and down, but as long as the trend is down and you've got a new low weigh in every 7 to 10 days. And if you only do it once a week, you're missing a whole bunch of data. And I know that might seem obsessive, but it's just accurate. Do you have to do this after this? Absolutely not. But during this phase, I think it's important. And lastly, if you do enjoy your weekends, whether it's takeaways, a few beers, drinks, etc., I get it. I enjoy that too. But during this phase, we're looking for speed. In this channel, I do speak about trying to balance your weekends and all that sort of stuff. And at the end of this, I'll link the video. But during this, for speed, I would try and keep it to an absolute minimum. And if so, if you could keep it to 0, that would just speed things up a whole load. So if you've got any questions, let us know down below. You can grab the free stuff down below, either book a call, inquire about coaching, and I can help you utilize this system yourself with a bit of accountability. If not, you're new here, you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see some more stuff. Watch these videos here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.